Coming up now in your spoiler-free wrestling news rundown, we've got a major update on Janel Grant's lawsuit against WWE, Vince McMahon, and John Laurinaitis. We've got news on Becky Lynch taking a hiatus from WWE, and we also have injury updates on Eddie Kingston and Adam Copeland. All that and more coming up now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. We have a major update on Janel Grant's lawsuit against Vince McMahon, WWE, and John Laurinaitis. So an article went out in Bloomberg today, and also Janel Grant's attorney, Ann Callis, sent a statement to multiple members of the media regarding this. Janel Grant has agreed to put a stay on her lawsuit. And what that means is basically she's putting the pause button on everything. Everything is paused regarding her lawsuit against WWE, Vince McMahon, and John Laurinaitis. Now, she is doing this at the request of the U.S. Justice Department. So here is a statement that Ann Callis issued to Bloomberg, as well as numerous other members of the media. She wrote in an email, Ms. Grant has consented to a request by the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York to stay her case against Mr. McMahon, WWE, and Mr. Laurinaitis pursuant to a pending non-public investigation. We will cooperate with all appropriate next steps. So what do they mean? What investigation is being conducted that requires this lawsuit to be paused? So the investigation, as mentioned by Ann Callis, is being conducted by the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York. In February, the Wall Street News and ABC News reported that the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York had launched a criminal investigation into allegations of sexual misconduct and sex trafficking against McMahon. So up on your screen now, that's just a little bit from the ABC News article back in February that was talking about the criminal investigation into McMahon. They wrote, former WWE executive and personality Vince McMahon, 78, is under a federal investigation as he grapples with sex trafficking allegations by an ex-employee, sources familiar with the matter told ABC News. The investigation stems from sexual misconduct accusations against McMahon by a number of women. And it also mentioned sometime in the summer, McMahon received a grand jury subpoena. And we also know that his cell phone was turned over to the Justice Office as well. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York is leading the investigation, the existence of which was reported by the Wall Street Journal, a spokesperson for the prosecutor office. So basically, in a nutshell here, this lawsuit is being paused as the U.S. Justice Department continues its criminal investigation into McMahon. So we hadn't known if this criminal investigation was still ongoing. There had been reports that Vince McMahon evidently was confident no criminal charges would ever be brought against him. But what's happened here today seems to suggest that there is a greater chance of criminal charges being pressed against McMahon than there had been previously. So that's it. That's all there is to this news right now. All we know is that Janel Grant has paused her lawsuit against Vince McMahon in response to a request from the Justice Department as they conduct their own investigation into the matter. And I believe this means the likelihood of criminal charges coming against Vince McMahon is far greater now than they used to be. But we'll just have to see. Some other news notes from around wrestling going on right now. Becky Lynch is said to be taking an extended leave from WWE. So in previous videos, we've mentioned that Becky Lynch's contract is set to expire at the end of this month, and she has not reached a new deal with the company. She had mentioned this on the MMA Hour a couple of months ago, but sounded very confident she was not going anywhere. Well, now it sounds like she just kind of wants to take a vacation. PW Torch had reported earlier this week that her mind and body could use a break. And then Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, he said on Wrestling Observer Radio that from what he's told, it's not like a short period of time. She's looking for a long time out. So Becky Lynch, of course, she's got a young child at home. Seth Rollins is on the shelf right now with knee injury. That's her husband, of course. So maybe they're looking for some time at home. But the belief is she's not going anywhere. She's not going to AEW, most likely anyway. She's just looking for a little time off. And the expectation is that she'll re-sign with WWE when she's ready, but we'll see. Another quick news note, Tony Khan was on the Rich Eisen show yesterday. And if you remember, he had been on the Rich Eisen show not long ago when he was wearing a neck brace to sell the attack by the Young Bucks last month. And he promised Rich Eisen that they would put the neck brace up for auction with the money to benefit his charity, Run Rich Run, which raises money for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Yesterday on the show, Tony Khan said, instead of doing that, how about I give you the neck brace? You can put it on your set here, and I will donate $100,000 to your charity. So that's $100,000 from Tony Khan and AEW to the St. Jude's Research Hospital. And now that neck brace will forever be on the set of the Rich Eisen show. And you may have heard that Adam Copeland is going to be out of action for some time. The 50-year-old came off the top of the cage, at AEW Double or Nothing on Sunday and landed feet first as he gave Malachi Black an elbow through a table. As it turns out, Copeland broke his shin bone and the injury is going to require surgery. So he put out a video yesterday saying, I've been feeling really good lately. Been having so much fun in the ring and I got cocky, as I guess what it really comes down to. My brain forgets what my body always seems to remember. A little late is that I'm 50 and I need to make better choices. So yes, Copeland, you are 50 years old and should not have jumped off a cage and then landed feet first. That's a great way to break your tibia, which is exactly what he did. So typical recovery time for a broken tibia can be between 4 and 6 months, but it depends on the severity of the break. And that sucks for AEW, it sucks for Copeland, but mainly it sucks for the Brood and fans of the Brood. Some of us had been really hoping the Vampire stable would end up feuding with the House of Black, and we were excited for that. Eddie Kingston's surgery for his ACL and meniscus tear is set for July 8th. So Kingston suffered a broken leg and a torn ACL and meniscus when his leg hit the guardrail in a match against Gabe Kidd at Resurgence on May 11th. Earlier this month, Kingston had said his timeline for return was basically about 10 months after he had surgery. So based on that timeline, if he has surgery on July 8th, it's going to be until May 2025 until we see Eddie Kingston in the ring again. So the reason he wasn't able to get surgery right away is that the doctors actually recommended he needs to let his broken leg heal before he gets surgery on the ACL and the meniscus. So that 2-month delay between the injury and the surgery just adds 2 months more recovery time onto him. So it's going to be a year before we see Kingston again. All right. There was also a sort of confusing article that came out recently by entertainment journalist Matt Baloney. But basically, the entire article was about David Zaslav and Warner Brothers Discovery, and what's going on with them in the NBA. It had very little to do with AEW or Tony Khan. But one little blurb that he wrote in there got a lot of attention in wrestling news, and that's where Baloney wrote that Tony Khan had been disappointed with the offer that WBD gave AEW. So AEW would later issue a denial, and so here was what was written on the Wrestling Observer newsletter website. They wrote, according to Dave Meltzer, AEW sources have told him that the first offer was not disappointing to Tony Khan, but that the two sides have yet to reach any deal. Negotiations for both TV and streaming are ongoing with WBD and not TNT Sports. There are a few names that are departing AEW when their contracts expire in the near future. One of those names is Mark Henry, and he is officially gone from the company as of Tuesday, and he officially revealed this on Busted Open Radio, where he is a co-host. And he just said, hey, I'm very proud of what I was able to do at AEW. Tony Khan and I mutually agreed to part ways, and we're doing so on a positive note. And Henry just said, hey, I'm not in a position to really give it my all right now, so I think it's best to walk away. Also, Jake Hager's contract with AEW has expired and was not re-signed, and that's according to reports from both Fightful and Body Slam. And also, Arn Anderson revealed on his podcast that he's leaving the company when his contract expires at the end of the month as well, stating that he wants to spend more time working with his son, Brock Anderson. He said on the show, "The limited time that I have left, I want to spend with Brock because I think Brock has aptitude and attitude, and I think he will be a big player for somebody. I just got to get him some experience, and that's where I'm going to devote my time. And if he comes along like I think and hope he will, it will be sooner than later. So I just wanted to say thank you to Tony." And also, we had some unexpected names appear on NXT this Tuesday. Ethan Page, formerly of AEW and Ring of Honor, attacked Trick Williams on the show and revealed he is the one behind another series of attacks. Now, they're doing a storyline where Page isn't signed to NXT or anywhere, but it definitely looks like he is signed with NXT. What we know about Page is that Fightful reported earlier this month that he had expressed a desire to leave AEW. I don't know if that means he asked for his release or stated that he wasn't planning on renewing his deal when it expired, but evidently NXT was interested, so he's there. Also, TNA Knockouts champion Jordan Grace, who appeared in the Royal Rumble earlier this year, was revealed as Roxanne Perez's opponent for Battleground. Now, according to PW Insider, more WWE and TNA crossover is expected to take place in the coming months as well. And we've seen TNA and WWE wrestlers kind of go back and forth on Twitter a little bit. Joe Hendry was mentioned by Xavier Woods. They want to do a show with him. Cedric Alexander told Mustafa Ali he wanted a shot at the X Division title. And Mustafa Ali said, "Well, I had a shot when you were the Cruiserweight champion, so I should return the favor." So we'll see if there's more AEW and TNA crossover coming up in the near future. And that's going to do it for this video, everyone. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and click the notifications bell and the like button, and we'll see you again next video.